Over the last couple of days, I told you what the top 5 worst games and worst movies of 2023 were. I fed you a complete meal of knowledge. 2023 had high highs and low lows. It was a year that pumped out some absolute classics and some assics. Like, I'm talking some true turbo ass trash. In both categories, we saw some horrible movies and some horrible games, and I already told you what the 5 worst were in each category. So now it's only fair I tell you what the best were in each category. But I'm not going to do a top 5 best games and movies list. I'm just going to tell you what the singular best game and best movie of 2023 was, because fuck you. I really just want to talk about the best game and best movie, and why settle for anything but the best? If you're not first, you're last, am I right? So let's go ahead and start with the best movie. I talked about it on stream a little bit, so I'll show you 2 clips there before diving a bit deeper. But this is one that I don't think anyone is expecting me to say, but I'm telling you right now, this is the scientifically correct take for the best movie of 2023. Just ask the big man upstairs. Talk to God tonight and ask him if Charlie was right about the best movie of 2023, and you're going to get a resounding yes. Hey, I don't think I'm going to do a top 5 best games and movies of last year. I just did worst. So here, I'll give you my best movies of last year real quick. Godzilla Minus One, I actually think is my movie of the year. I think Godzilla Minus One is the best film that came out in 2023. I still constantly think about it. I still talk about it. Was actually talking about it today with Jackson on the podcast. This movie is the best Godzilla movie they've ever made, and it is incredible. Like, even if you don't like Godzilla, it is still so good. So good. So I think this is my movie of the year for 2023. And then right behind that would be Oppenheimer. I can even give you some of the wild, wacky numbers, because I just talked about them today. This movie was filmed on a roughly $15 million budget, and right now it's done $81 million at the box office, and you would have no idea that this is a $15 million budget movie. This just goes to show how much bloat there is in Hollywood blockbusters, because for $15 million, this competes with $100 million movies visually. Hands down, easy. It's not like, this doesn't look like a low-budget movie. Not a single goddamn scene in here looks low budget. So there is some fishiness afoot with these fudged numbers in Hollywood, because this movie for 15 mil looks as good as $100 million movies. Now, I know some of you might be rolling your eyes like, oh, a giant monster movie being the best of 2023, talk about the taste of a child. And you couldn't be more wrong. This movie is so much more than just like a giant monster destruction movie. It has so much to it. It is so deep. I think it's probably the most emotional movie of the year. Like, maybe not as emotional as Oppenheimer, to be fair, but it is still very close, and it offers so much. This is one of the few films I watched where I was so excited by it that I actually came and made a whole rant just going crazy over how good it was. Usually if I make a rant video on something I watch, it's about it being terrible. This was about it being terrific. The movie accomplishes a feat that science deemed impossible. They actually made you care about something that wasn't just Godzilla going around fucking things up. You actually get emotionally invested in the human characters because they were extremely well written with a really compelling narrative. It's the first time in any movie of this genre that I can recall actually getting excited when Godzilla wasn't on screen. And when Godzilla shows up, your jaws on the floor are like, no, don't hurt them, please, God, no! Whereas in every other giant monster movie, the humans are just fucking cringe side characters that you just a snooze fest yawning through. You never really care. They're just kind of meat puppets to get stomped on. And you're cheering for Godzilla the whole time. Like, yeah, flip over that building. Oh, yeah, he destroyed the hospital. Woo! Here, when old Godzilla starts stomping around, you're begging him to stop, panicked. Like, no, don't hurt him. Don't hurt these characters. I like them, please, no. And the acting performances are stellar, like actually extremely impressive. The visuals in the film are absolutely beautiful and at times breathtaking. So when Godzilla does show up and he's fucking flexing, slapping buildings over, tail blasting people, picking up trains and shit, and then, oh, good heavens, when he uses his atomic breath, it has never been cooler or more devastating. Like, the score of this film is incredible and the sound design is unbelievable. So when the atomic breath is used, it is so tense. It's so fucking tense. It'll have goosebumps on your goosebumps. This shit'll put hair on your chest instantly. Like everything this film set out to do, it nailed. It absolutely crushed it on such a tight budget too. I can't believe what they were able to accomplish. I can't recommend this film enough. Even if you hate Godzilla, if you're outside every day with like a picket sign Godzilla with an X through it, like boo Godzilla, boo, I still think you'd probably like this movie. I really do. This film transcends the giant monster movie genre. Like it's so much more than that. There's so much more meat on the bones here. It's so fucking solid. So yeah, that's 2023's best movie. So let's move on to 2023's best game. This is a really interesting one for me because, objectively speaking, I think 2023's best game is Baldur's Gate. I agree with the Game Awards, it is Game of the Year. I think no matter how you spin it, what Baldur's Gate did is nothing shy of a masterpiece. Like an actual generational achievement with what Baldur's Gate 3 was able to produce here. But for me personally, the game I had the most fun with in 2023 was actually Tears of the Kingdom. So Tears of the Kingdom is basically just Breath of the Wild again, but with everything improved. It's a better Breath of the Wild, and I already fucking loved Breath of the Wild. As I said in my voice meter for Tears of the Kingdom, the only thing that holds this game back is the platform that it's on. The Nintendo Switch is so embarrassingly weak and wimpy that Tears of the Kingdom I don't think could reach its full glory and full potential. But even in spite of that, it created one of the most memorable gaming experiences I've had in 2023. You could get so creative with everything. You truly had unlimited freedom with the new mechanics it offered, with being able to build pretty much anything you could imagine. Like, I still remember all the viral videos of people making fucking Gundams, like working Gundams in Tears of the Kingdom. It offered so much creative expression. Like, you could solve all kinds of puzzles in a million different ways. There was never one right way of playing the game, and I loved that about Tears of the Kingdom. I still remember how long I spent researching and theory crafting different intricate traps I could use to kill mobs in the game. It's just so fun. Like, I do think it's probably the most fun Zelda game they've made so far. Again, my main gripe is just the limitations of the Switch, really. Also, I did criticize the writing a bit, but that's not the focal point of the game. Plus, the writing did always end up getting you to a spectacular cinematic moment, so I could excuse some silly, repeated moments throughout the story. Overall, I just think Tears of the Kingdom was the most fun I had with a single game in 2023. But as I mentioned, I do think Baldur's Gate 3 is the deserved game of the year in from an objective technical standpoint, perhaps. But for me personally, my 2023 game of the year was Tears of the Kingdom. So if you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 or Tears of the Kingdom, you can't go wrong with either one or both. They're both extraordinary, and honestly, 2023 was an incredible year for gaming in general. I know I said I'm not doing a top 5, but I'm also going to quickly shout out Alan Wake 2. I waited so long for Alan Wake 2, and I was not disappointed. I think Alan Wake 2 is another absolute fucking banger of a game. So yeah, that's the best game and the best movie of 2023 in my opinion. And yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.